Mic'd up.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Yankees Coast to Coast. Turn off your song, Michael.
Hey,
My,
how do you like my new toupee?
hmm?
How do you like my new toupee?
It's
Everybody
a
thinks
wow.
everybody thinks I have a nice new toupee.
It's a beautiful one. I always thought you were bald. I've always known that. I'm just surprised to see that you actually are admitting it so openly.
Well, that's because you've
You're
just
like,
my ass, and that's why you think I'm bald.
true,
Let me
absolutely
before
correct. Where are you going,
my
baby?
family has to listen to this crap.
All right. So thank you everybody for coming, all 1.25 of you. We're doing really well on YouTube. So thank you folks for coming back. And the people who do seem to like us, which is sad because life must be really boring. And given all the great Yankee content out there, we appreciate the
Most of the
participation.
content is crap. I'm sorry, but I'm going to talk trash. Most of the content is crap.
I have to admit, I'm really enjoying the Clint Frazier stuff, mostly because he's does not hold back his
Well,
obvious
he's a
disdain for the
little
Yankee
bit bitter,
organization.
wouldn't you say?
Yeah, bitter. It's a bitter herbs.
Well, it's almost Passover, so all right.
Perfect for that. All
So
right.
we're
So
here
what are we going to
today.
talk
We're
about?
here today because Adam has a hard stop because his wife's going to beat him if we don't get over this real quickly. She's going to go all Real Housewives of the Brigham Young or whatever it is,
Are
Mormon
we
house.
really breaking the misses in?
Yes. So
We're actually watching a movie, and it's supposed to be a no enjoyable evening
would
of
you like to play
film
the movie?
noir tonight.
What porn are you watching with your wife?
I don't no, no, that's not part. It's definitely film noir. Are you familiar with this new genre, the film noir?
That's a poor excuse for porn. Okay. Anyhow,
That's your evening.
it's
My evening is
it's
my evening. Your
tasteful.
evening
It
is
sounds like
yours.
film noir is just tasteful nudity. Let's face facts. All
They
right.
always have. Nobody takes their clothes off in 1947.
Oh, you're watching 1947 movies?
That's film noir, buddy.
Oh, I
Are
thought
you
it
not
was new. I
familiar?
said new film noir, so I thought it was new. I
There
studied
is no such thing as
noir.
new.
I studied,
That's a
I
joke that I
studied film
use.
noir. I took film. I don't know, whatever it was called, movies of the world
Film
or
for
something in
idiots,
college,
movie for
and
morons.
saw film noir. But I thought it was new film noir. Do you have an orchestra playing in the background since you might be silent movie?
No, but it always annoys me that they always have singing in film noirs. Always some woman like a slinky siren singing a song in the middle. Try to say that 5 times. A slinky siren singing a song in the middle in the middle of it, and that annoys me. That's when I always go to the bathroom.
Well, you are wearing those diapers now. All right. Anyhow, we're here to talk about the bullpen. We'll end on that note.
That's a segue. Never
Segways are
was
for
one.
kids. Segways are for kids. All right. So we're here to talk about the bullpen, and we were talking briefly before this, and there's a couple ways to look at it. Is what was the bullpen like at the start of 25? Clearly, and what is the bullpen at the start of 26? Clearly, in my mind, the 25 bullpen going into the season looked a hell of a lot better than the bullpen going into 26. It performed horribly, especially Williams and Weaver, and then they were counting on Loizaga, which was total garbage. Why they would ever have counted on him is beyond me. But
Hmm.
out of the 25 bullpen, Williams is gone with the Mets, Weaver is gone with the Mets, Leiter is with the A's, Ian Hamilton's with the Braves, Brubaker's with the Giants, Efros is in Detroit, Clayton Beater's still in Washington, Loizaga's in Arizona, Alan Winans looks like he's out of baseball. Yondres Gomez is with Tampa Bay.
Fantasy camp. He's gone to the Yankee fantasy camp starting
So
starting next
whatever they
season.
decided, the only guys back from the start of last season are Cruz, Hill, and Yarborough, and De Los Santos, but they put him down into the minors earlier this week. So
Yeah.
they clearly revamped their entire bullpen since the opening of 25. The question is the bullpen in 26 going to be better than the bullpen in 25? It would, Leiter, Hamilton, Loizaga, Efros, we're all horrible in 25.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll tell you the big difference is going to be the top two. I mean, I think that one of the things that I think the Yankees got away from last year, and maybe have been getting away from is the big arm in the bullpen. Like they have guys They always had guys who came in with some kind of secondary that was very effective, but it was not a primary. I still believe, I always will believe the fastball is always the primary pitch. It has to be
I agree with
for
you.
great
I think
success.
I think
So if these
you have to
guys
have
don't,
a fastball to work off of, and that includes starting pitching. If you don't have a fastball,
yeah,
everything is slow enough that players can adjust. They're that good.
sooner or
Um,
later they will always
right.
do that.
But
But a
I mean, the
guy who
bullpens
comes
that they had,
in,
though, if you look at the bullpens they had and the closers they had, Mariano had the cutter, and then he gets excused from every analysis because he's that much better. But if you look at Wetland was a fastball guy, David Robertson was a curveball guy, um, Williams was a changeup guy, Weaver
and
was a fastball guy, Holmes
yeah,
was a fastball sinker guy, which is the same thing these days. And then their setup guys last year were power pitchers, and Hamilton and Cruz is a power guy with a power changeup, but you know they were counting on Leiter, who had a power slider, cutter situation, and then they were counting on Loizaga, which and from the get go, you and I were like, why? But that's a different
mhm.
story. But this year they got Bednar, and
And I think Bednar, and also I know you've seen him operate in bad times, but Camilo Deval could be a very good
well,
setup man, and that will be interesting to see. Or will Cruz take over the high leverage setup if he learns how not to throw four balls all the time?
well, let's. All right. So Bednar, obviously he spent some time in 24 in the minors, came back and was okay, and then last year he was good for Pittsburgh, and then he came to the Yankees and he was really good. And then
Hmm.
obviously, like you were saying earlier in our conversation before the show, he was a stud in the WBC. He was the guy for the American team in the bullpen,
Hmm.
and there's no ifs answers. So I think you know what? He's going to be good. Every prediction you see about him, whether it's the MLB.com survey that they just came out with, where he's the number two closer in the American League behind the guy in Seattle, Munoz. They expect him to have the second highest number of saves of any pitcher in the American League, assuming no injuries, obviously. And there's no reason to doubt him. Of course, there was no reason to doubt Devin Williams last year, but we do have a guy who has a track record of being able to handle New York and the WBC, which is a pretty big damn stage. As far as
Hmm.
Duvall goes, I do think he's going to be the primary setup man. His K rate in 2025 was the lowest of his career, but it was still 10 per 9 innings or 9.9. His walk
Hmm.
rate was higher than it had ever been at 4.8, but his strikeout to walk ratio of 2.06 was the best of his career, which is hard to remember. And his walk rate with the Yankees was the best of his career, and his WHIP was good; it was slightly up. His hit per nine is what really jumped last year. It was 7.2 for his career, but with the Yankees it was 9.2. But his walk rate went down, so we threw more strikes. But if you look at his season and you look at his appearances, 5 of his first 9 appearances were god awful. I mean, multiple runs anytime he pitched, except for one time or two times where he's still allowed to run in 1 inning, and they were using him in clutch situations. But after that, out of his last 13 regular season appearances, he only had one bad outing.
Hmm.
So I think he's going to be better than he was with the Yankees, but probably back to his norm with a higher than 10, maybe even 11 or 12 strikeouts per nine. I'm thinking the Yanks are really banking on Blake being able to fix his control issues that he's had over the years, which it seemed like over time with the Yankees he got better with. So I have high hopes for Duvall. I think the Bednar Duvall combination is better than the Yankees had certainly at the end of last season because they had no closer really and they didn't really have a primary setup man. And I do think Bednar Duval is as good as what we expected from Williams and Weaver last year because as I said to you, so many of these relievers are fungible. They have 1 or 2 good years and they're burnt out.
Hmm.
And the Yankees do a good job of getting guys to their peak and burning them out. They held on to guys a little bit too long last year, basically Hamilton, Leiter, and a couple other guys that got burnt out. So we'll see what happens with regard to that. But there were some failures last year, too. I mean, Bird was a failure when he came over. Beater was supposed to have a stud arm, and the Yankees couldn't fix him. Loizaga was injured left, right, and in the middle. So I'm not really thinking, Efros was a stud and then he got hurt, so he's never come back. And Brubaker was an injury comeback guy, and he didn't do anything. By the way, he's had a great spring for the Giants as their middle relief guy. But then you have Fernando Cruz, and Cruz is Cruz. I think he's equal with last year. He actually had slightly less innings than he's ever had in his career. He only pitched 48 innings last year, which is about 20 innings, almost 20 innings less than he's been pitching the 2 previous years, which was interesting. I didn't realize he didn't pitch that many innings last year.
Yeah. Here's a thought I want to bring up. The only thing that worries me is depth beyond those three, and I'll tell you where I have concerns. The Yanks are
I agree with you. Let's just start with the fact that I agree with you, and I have a list of guys that I have concerns about.
all right. So the way I look at it is, I want to just bring up something that I saw somewhere. I'm not quite sure I read somewhere, but it's a good point. Yanks are mid-season. They're playing the Red Sox um, on a weekend series, Boston Yankee Stadium. It doesn't matter. But, they play a team like Boston, or more likely Toronto, that works their starters deep into counts, and they're out by the fifth or sixth inning. So you've got the guys coming you've got guys who come in this, let's say, sixth inning guys. You've got Tim Hill come in and do some lefty stuff early on, maybe in the bottom of the sixth inning. Um, you then have Fernando take over in the into the sixth and seventh. Yanks are winning, say, 3-2 in that game, or losing, whatever. But they're winning. Let's just say they're winning 3-2 in that first game. Uh, they get to Camillo. They then and they win 3-2 with the usual game. The next game, they play another tight one on Saturday, and this time they're down by a run or so, and 2 runs, and they get lucky enough to get into a tie game situation, and they go into extras, and we know they're terrible in extras, so they run all their pitchers out. They win the game. Fantastic. Let's just say they win, or they lose, but let's just say they win. What are they going to do on Sunday?
Oh, they're going to do what they always do on Sunday. They're basically going to throw the game. I
But
mean,
that's what
that's
I
the
mean.
Yankee strategy. They won't.
This is what bothers me, because that's why you need more arms. You need
Well,
some
that's
more dynamic
so.
guys.
The number one guy for the Yankees that I think might be at his end of his rope and burnt out is Tim Hill. I have serious concerns about Tim Hill this year. He was significantly worse, even though he threw the same number of innings in 24 that he did in 25. But he was significantly worse in 25 than he was in 24. He really is merely just a freak left-handed sidearm underhand guy, but he was allowing a lot of hits. His strikeout rate went up, and his walk rate's always fine, but he allowed a lot more hits. And it's hard to do home runs per nine for a reliever, but his home runs per nine were up over one home run a game more, one home run per nine more. He went from like 0.6 to 1.7 or something like that. That's a lot of home runs for a guy who's supposed to be soft contact lefty. And I'm a little concerned that he's burnt out. The other guy that I think was a question mark last year, is a question mark this year, is another guy that they're going to use in higher leverage spots than they did last year, was Yarborough. And I'm scared of Yarborough, although when I look back at his stats, appearance by appearance, he actually gave them 4 or 5 innings when he started that were effective. One time he even gave him, I think 2 times he even gave him 6 innings with 1 run. But his last 9 relief appearances, where he was short-term usage, he allowed runs. So he had his 8 best outings were his 8 starts. So he seems to be better as a starter in a bullpen type game than he is as a bullpen pitcher in a high leverage game.
I
And
mean,
that's
I'll
not
take a
good.
4.3. I'll take a 4.3 RRA from a spot starter and a
Oh yeah,
reliever.
that's what I said.
I think that's fine. If you're estimating, I think that what's interesting is the strikeout rate was a lot higher. You're right. The strikeout rate was he had 55 strikeouts. Was it 55 and 64 innings last year? Is that what
Yeah,
it was?
that was high. He threw
That's
7.7 per 9 innings, which is the highest of
uh,
his career.
The problem is a whip of 1.2. If that
Right.
goes up a little bit,
His walk
yeah,
rate was above his average, and his home runs per nine was also above his
yeah.
highest of his career. But really, he got worse over the course of the season. If you look at the breakdown, like I said,
Mm.
he's as a starter, his eight starts were actually pretty effective, better than the 4.3 ERA. But his last nine relief appearances, he was god awful. And
Well,
that
let's go back to Hill for a second. Let's try to stay on one guy and finish each guy first, and
well,
then
I
we'll
thought
go
we were
on.
done
Just
with him.
no, the reason why this is something I want to bring up. Why, he relies heavily on his sinker. Like he's all about, for him, it's the ground balls. They really want soft contact with ground balls.
That's
So
who.
that's something that's important. Now, here's the problem. Is that hard to do? Is that hard to replicate? Is that something that is there something I don't know. You're I'm not a pitcher. I'm
I'm a
obviously
belly
not.
itcher. I'm not a pitcher. The
Yeah, but
but I think
correct.
it's. I mean, it's. I don't necessarily know that it is hard to do. I think what's hard to do is have longevity at the major league level as a relief pitcher. My
Yeah, especially
concern,
one that throws 62 miles an hour.
well, yeah, but whether we throw 62 or not, I think these guys, going back to Scott Proctor
Hmm.
and our friend Tanyan Sturts, they get burnt out after a couple of years. I think Ian Hamilton, even though he was a ground ball guy more than he was a strikeout guy,
Hmm.
and Mark Leiter, I think the Yankees, they expected more out of Leiter, I think, but Ian Hamilton was nowhere, and the Yankees brought him in. And I think Hill, although he was released by the White Sox, and I'm going to say a sentence that I may not say again the rest of my life. You ready?
Hmm.
Susan Waldman was right on the broadcast yesterday when
Wow.
when she said the White Sox let Hill go not because he wasn't good enough. They let him go because they wanted to put youngsters in. And why bother with a guy that's 30 years old and is a junk ball lefty when you could bring in one of your younger guys to see what they have from the middle of the season in 2023 or 24, whatever it was. And I just think that these guys have short life expectancies, no matter who they are. I think they just do. That's why they're relief pitchers and not starters.
Hmm.
They have short life expectancies. And I'm not saying that guys can't be good in the bullpen, but I think that these guys regress and some of them can come back. Bednar being the one that the Yankees are believing in, and I believe in, and you believe in, and Major League Baseball believes in, is a guy who could come back after being a stud closer for a couple of years. He lost the job, hurt his back, came back, was terrible, went down to the minors, came back, and he's allegedly, and what we've seen, it's true, is back to what he was. But most of these guys can't do what Bednar did.
Hmm.
They don't come back. They end up stinking up the joint. And that's the problem, is they just don't get better. And I think Hill's in that boat where I think he's burnt out.
All right.
But if he's not, he's not. I mean, he's still a lefty junk ball guy. Having him on the roster is not going to hurt anybody.
Yeah, he's
Yarborough, on the
also
other hand,
exactly. He's the least important to me. Like I think
well,
he's. It's good to have him. There aren't enough lefties in there. That's obvious. They need more
three.
lefties.
They have
But
three.
you know, well, who are the three? Jake. You got Bird. Bird's a left. No,
No,
right hand.
Birds are righty.
So
You have
you've got Yarborough,
Yarborough,
Tim Hill, and who
and
else?
you've got Brett Hedrick.
Oh yeah, yeah. We haven't talked about Hedrick.
We'll get to him. I have some stuff on him. Now, the other guy that they're counting on, and this is a little scary too, because of how awful he was, is Bird, and he had a fantastic spring training.
All right, he is my wild card. I'm
I
saying
agree.
right now, if I think anyone's going to stand out, he's right now looking at they're hoping for low to middle leverage, middle relief innings. That's not going to be where he ends
He's
up.
there. He's the guy you would. I think you would. I would when you were saying they're down 3-2 in the sixth. He's the guy
Yeah.
they're going to.
Yeah, I think that's going to be your big surprise. I'm going to put it here. You can say it now, but I think he's going to be your surprise this year. I think that knowing they burned him out can't be easy to to be in that situation in Colorado.
Yeah,
Couldn't
but
have been an easy
he
place.
wasn't that good in Colorado. He was a high strikeout.
Well, it's not easy to be good in Colorado,
Right.
first of all,
He
and
was a
it's a
high strikeout,
terrible
high
the
walk.
world. It was also colossally one of the all-time worst teams to play for. So, you know, coming to the Yankees had to be quite a quite a culture shock. Didn't
Yeah,
do
but why did
well
he stink? He stunk at AAA too. I mean, he was god
because I
awful.
think he was burned out. That's probably what happens. I
He
think
didn't pitch
you
that
only
many
have
innings
so
to
many
get
innings.
burned out, though.
They said that they overpitched him a lot in Colorado. Like they went to him, they blew him out. So let's see. What did he do last year? Numbers of innings. I don't. Overall, 25 full season stats, 55 innings pitched. You know, above average for his career. So it seems that he went. He probably got used a lot. Probably around the time that he was leaving, they were showcasing him for a trade, and and
I
that
don't know. His,
happened.
his career is 47 innings, 89 innings, 40 innings, 55 and 50, 55.
Hmm.
So, I mean, maybe the 89 innings, but this is now it was 2 years removed last year and he wasn't good.
Yeah.
And
Well,
even when he had
maybe it's
89
just
innings, he's just,
all right.
I mean, he definitely is the
Let's
wild.
hope there. Let's
If he's,
hope that that's over.
if he's
That's not that
good,
he's found something.
right. But we're talking about, other than the injury piece, it sounds like we're talking about Scott Efros over and over again.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, no, the injury piece is a big part of Efros. That's not
yeah.
a small issue.
So,
That was the issue.
So the other guy is Hedrick, the other
Hmm.
lefty, right? He was waived by Minnesota last year, and the Yankees claimed him in February. He was very good
Hmm.
at AAA for the Yankees, and they brought him up. He's got a great strikeout to walk ratio of 4.29, and his strikeouts per nine is 11.7.
Hmm.
In August, he got hit by the line drive on his arm, and that was that. So, he was good on the Yankees. I think there's something there, and I think he might be a medium leverage guy. Again, I think he's also one of those 3-2, 4-2 down in the sixth kind of guys that you could
Well,
bring in, and he could give you 2 innings because he is a decently hard throwing left hander.
I mean, 32.6% strikeout rate.
Right.
That's pretty elite.
11.7 per nine, which is really good. And his whip was low because he has a low walk rate.
Hmm.
He does allow some hits, but you got hit in the forearm. Let's see what happens. That can mess with your head, even though he didn't get hit in the head. Those line
Yeah.
drives back at you can mess with you, but I think there's something there. He's the second wild card in that bullpen for me. Him and Bird sitting in that middle medium leverage positions where you want to keep a game close for an inning or two are the key for the Yankees for those games on Sunday afternoon that we were talking about, where the
Hmm.
Yankees normally just like, yeah, let's throw Schneider and Miller out there on the mound and see how they do. If these two guys can keep them in those games and the bats can bring them back and they can get the game to Bednar or Cruz or Duvall, I think that they'll win more games. The question is, can the bats do that? And last year the bats couldn't do that, but that's a different conversation.
That's next week. One of the things about him is he has options left.
Yeah, but they're not
So,
sending him down. He's on the 25 man, 26 man.
yeah,
He's
I'm
made it.
saying that he can go down later. The problem is they can't. If let's just say they don't send Windcrest back, have they decided
I
what
don't
to
know,
do with
but he got
Windquest?
bombed. He got bombed again today.
Yeah,
They've
and
got to say, my notes on Winquest are this: send him back to the Cardinals.
yeah,
That's my note.
yeah. Well, they like him, but that's not that.
Obviously,
I
they
don't think
like
they
him, but
like the lack of flexibility with guys. I think that's a ridiculous rule. Don't you think this Rule
no, it's a
5 thing
good
is kind
rule.
of
It's a good rule for the players because the guy's been in the minor leagues for 4 years and not added to the 40-man roster, or he's been in the minor leagues for 7 years and never appeared in the major leagues, I think is the rule.
But
They
they
were
never
talking about it today.
stay. So what's the use? He starts, learns a whole new system, doesn't
Well,
make
there's
it
no
for the
system to
full years,
learn.
and he gets sent back. So then he goes back and he's just a regular schmo again. So the only time he's anything special is when he's with his selecting team, and
Right.
that is never last
He
long.
hasn't. Well, some Rule 5 guys work. I mean,
Who
some
stays?
not very
Who
many.
not with the Yankees. Yankees only have had one selection in 50 years.
Right, but
But who else?
some Rule 5 guys that
I think
have
the
had.
Mets had one. Didn't the Mets keep one of the Yankee catchers once? There was
Yeah,
a
there's a couple of guys who have had a couple of good years as Rule 5 players, but there's a reason that they're Rule 5 players. I mean,
yeah. They've never been able. There seem to be
it's
4A guys.
something that they're not quite getting over the hump where they
Yeah,
are. So I
yeah.
mean, a team like this way, some of the Rule 5 players that make it are guys who end up being Rule 5 picked by Colorado, Rule 5 picked by Washington. Those are the kind of guys that get
Yeah,
picked.
because they can afford to catch. Like they
There
can
was
give
some
up
Rule
a
5
roster
guys this
spot.
year, I think. And
Yankee roster spots are rather valuable.
right. Well, they got rid of Vivas in order to put Grichuk on the
That was a
40.
good move. I don't know anything about the picture. I hope he's got
He's no, he's
something.
got he's got potential. He's young and he's got potential.
Wasn't he like their 27th?
Right, but his stats, he's a high strikeout guy. And guess what? High walk guy.
Of course. Yeah,
But
yeah, but no, don't worry. I'll get him into the lab, and this poor guy, this guy, this you know, this Yankee guy he's got to be the busiest guy in all sports. He's so busy. He's fixing every arm the Yankees ever have, and then everybody down in the minor leagues as well.
well, a lot of it. Well, it's Blake's. I think he came over
Blake,
with Blake, the guy that runs the lab, so to speak, is Blake's buddy. The back of the Yankee bullpen, they do have the guys they could throw out there for 5 innings and a blowout when they're losing big in Beto
Blackburn,
and Blackburn.
Yarborough.
Well, Yarborough, no, Yarborough's got to be. He's going to be in a close.
He's not gonna be in the rotation until somebody
No,
gets
but he's
hurt.
going to be. He's going to be a guy you're down. The starter gets bombed or gets hurt, and he's out in the third inning. That's Yarborough.
Yeah, and
He's the guy
Blackburn.
for multiple innings. But they also, if they're really getting blown out, you got Blackburn and Beto in the pen. So I don't understand that at all. But
No, they need more
if
help
you
than
look at
that.
the
They need.
Yankees,
That's what I mean. They're filling that spot that we're talking about
right,
with another
crap,
guy with two
crap.
blowout guys. They don't need that. They don't
But
need garbage guy
no,
innings
but
from them.
if you look at this, if the Yankees get Rodon and Cole back, right, that means two of the five starters. I'm including Heel in the group of five starters. Two of the five starters are gone out of the rotation. Clearly, Weathers, who has relief experience, is out. I would think Heel would be out, and if he could throw more strikes, he could be a really killer reliever. But
Well,
you
maybe
know,
when he throws all he's got, I mean, maybe we don't have to worry about like the 3, 4 times through. He'll be fine. That might be an idea
right?
to fix him, fix Hill.
Yeah, I
Um,
like it. Remember when Phil Hughes moved from the starting rotation to the bullpen and how good he
yeah,
was for a couple of years?
yeah.
I think that if they can get lucky and get a guy like Heel to do that, that would be terrific.
Hmm.
But who knows? But and then you look at the Yankees. What do they have in the minors? They have starters up the wazoo in the minors. I see. You and I disagree on Lagrange, right? You say bring him up and let him pitch in the pen.
Well, first of all, I pronounce his name correctly. It's
Lagrange.
Legrand. It's Legrand.
I think he's related to Rusty Staub. Lagrange. Lagrange.
Legrand.
All
Very good.
right.
Very good. It's
So
Legrand.
maybe he's Rusty Staub's love child. Anyhow, which would be quite possibly impossible.
All right,
Anyhow,
I think that the Yankees are going to have a problem with him. He's going to be. He got killed today, by the way. He gave up 9 runs. So
Lagrange
against the
did.
Cubs. Yeah, he gave up 9 runs against the
Oh,
or
I
either
saw
8 or 9 runs.
Winquist got rocked for 5, and then Lagrange
No, what
did.
happened was he came in and he gave up like 2 home runs, and they were all or he didn't give up 2 homes. Gave up first home run. I think he gave up a 3-run bomb that all went uh, to
Back to
Legrand.
Florida from Arizona.
So yeah, I don't know. Something happened. So it's he had a bad outing, but I'm sure they'll be all over him in the news tomorrow about how
It'll
bad
be
he was.
fine.
But yeah, I mean, who
No,
cares?
Lagrange
These
didn't
guys
pitch.
have to do
Lagrange
badly
didn't
just to
pitch
be human.
today. Lagrange did not pitch today.
He did.
No, Winquist pitched today.
First start. Look at the starter who
Starter was
started against.
Winquist. Winquist pitched 1 2/3 and allowed 2
No,
runs. And then came De Los Santos, who got rocked, and then
no.
Castro and Beto.
I saw this today against the Cubbies, right?
Yeah, I'm looking right at it. They lost 15-6.
Yes, and there was. I'm looking now at the
Unless,
box
this only
score.
has 5 innings in here. It doesn't. Maybe there's a pitcher missing.
Yeah, there is. 2.2 innings. Legrand pitched, gave up
Nice
9 hits,
stats.
8 runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 2 bombs.
Yeah.
Then this guy Brian comes in. I don't know who he is, and gave up a bomb. Windcrest came in and gave up. No, he didn't. He gave up
Yeah, Winquest
two
was the
runs.
third pitcher. See, my thing that I went to originally didn't have Lagrange. Yeah, 2 2/3, 8 runs.
I think they're trying to whitewash the results. It's going to hurt his trade value.
Yeah.
But no, I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
well,
He's
Lagrange, Brian, Winquest, and De Los Santos all got rocked.
yeah. Here's his third inning wasn't good.
Well,
Was
he threw
was
66 pitches and he only threw 38 strikes.
Yeah, not his better game. So listen, everybody has to have a stinker. It's
Yeah,
part of what's
nobody
going
has
on.
to
You
take it.
want to
But
get
I
him
would
now.
put him. Every time somebody says put him in the bullpen, I just think about Jabba. I really
Yeah.
do.
Hey, it's 9:31. You know what that means, right? Hard
It means
stop.
your wife is on your ass and you got to go.
All right. I hear her telling me, "Come on out." No,
Well,
just
you got
kidding.
these
Hey,
starters. They got just quickly the guy that I think that they'd bring up to put in the pen would be Hampton. High K right, decent control guy. But Legrand,
Hess,
Rodriguez,
Hampton.
Hess are got to stay as starters.
Okay, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see. Okay, in a couple days we're gonna do because we're supposed to stay offline a little bit for the next couple because
Yeah.
of
Wednesday night,
technical.
we'll see if we'll do a post game Wednesday night.
Let's do a post game Wednesday night, man. I'm
And then
in.
we could do a season predictions on Thursday.
All right,
All
sounds
right.
good.
Good luck in prison.